Greetings and infinite blessings to all of my friends out there. Thank you for joining me on this channel. We're here studying the lessons of A Course in Miracles, and today we're going to be studying lesson number 134. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Well, this is going to be a good one. And I will tell you, when I was doing the meditation this morning, I felt literally like miracle energies moving through me. Actually started having a little bit of a sore throat last night and early this morning when I first woke up. And as I was meditating with this lesson, I could feel relief in real time actually happening to me while I was thinking about forgiveness. So I think this is probably one of the most powerful lessons that we're going to do. And wherever you're at with your understanding of what forgiveness is, Course in Miracles definition or regular world definition, it's all okay. You're doing great. Even the fact that you're here tuned in doing lesson 134 today is beautiful and perfect. So take whatever you can get, use what resonates and discard the rest, and know that we are being guided by Jesus and by a league of high vibrational, loving, non-physical beings that want us to be happy and want us to have the absolute best incarnation possible, which is why the Course is in our field right now. So get yourself comfortable and let's begin to dive into this lesson. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Let us review the meaning of forgive, for it is apt to be distorted and to be perceived as something that entails an unfair sacrifice of righteous wrath, a gift unjustified and undeserved, and a complete denial of truth. In such a view, forgiveness must be seen as mere eccentric folly, and this course appear to real salvation on a whim. This twisted view of what forgiveness means is easily corrected when you can accept the fact that pardon is not asked for what is true. It must be limited to what is false. It is irrelevant to everything except illusions. Truth is God's creation, and to pardon that is meaningless. All truth belongs to Him, reflects His laws, and radiates His love. Does this need pardon? How can you forgive the sinless and eternal benign? How can you forgive the sinless and eternally benign? The major difficulty that you find in genuine forgiveness on your part is that you still believe you must forgive the truth and not illusions. You conceive of pardon as a vain attempt to look past what is there, to overlook the truth in an unfounded effort to deceive yourself by making an illusion true. This twisted viewpoint but reflects the hold that the idea of sin retains as yet upon your mind as you regard yourself. So I think an interesting thing to bring up here is when we think about forgiveness, at least the way we were taught in, like, I went to public school in Maryland. Forgive means somebody did something wrong and you forgive them. It's like very basic and very simple. The Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness is more about atonement. And you'll see the very last line of this lesson illuminates that point, but we'll get to that later. So this idea that we're overlooking the truth and making illusions true, that's what we do in our small self version of forgiveness. Very important. The other thing that comes to mind is acceptance, like fully accepting that whatever is happening to us or through us is something to just have awareness of and then let it go. What we tend to do is hold on to things and have resentments and have stories. We have plenty of stories in our minds. We give meaning to things that happen. We think we know everything about another person and their perspective, and we diagnose left and right, all these things outside of ourselves. When the truth is that anything that happens, we have a hand in creating, and it has some kind of an effect on us, because it's meant to loosen up some of the blocked energy in our system so that we can soften, heal, forgive ourselves, see our brothers and sisters in a more loving way, more compassionate. And it's all about our perception and what's going on in our mind. So I don't know, I wanted to highlight that a little. There's probably more that'll come up as we read through this. But just know that this whole book is about our own perception, unlearning our programming and conditioning around death, destruction, hate, all of that. And you can move through anything if you believe that your perception about it is probably wrong, which is what's causing you discomfort. Because you think your sins are real, you look on pardon as deception. For it is impossible to think of sin as true and not believe forgiveness is a lie. Thus is forgiveness really but a sin like all the rest. It says the truth is false and smiles on the corrupt as if they were as blameless as the grass, as white as snow. It is delusional in what it thinks it can accomplish. It would see as right the plainly wrong, the loathsome as the good. Pardon is no escape in such a view. It merely is a further sign that sin is unforgivable, at best to be concealed, denied, or called another name, for pardon is treachery to truth. Guilt cannot be forgiven. If you sin, your guilt is everlasting. Those who are forgiven from the view their sins are real are pitifully mocked and twice condemned, first by themselves for what they think they did, and once again by those who pardon them. It is sin's unreality that makes forgiveness natural and wholly sane, a deep relief to those who offer it, a quiet blessing where it is received. It does not countenance illusions, but collects them lightly with a little laugh, and gently lays them at the feet of truth, and there they disappear entirely. So that's another thing. We think that in some cases we're the judge, jury, and executioner for our brothers and sisters who have done us wrong, or we just observe them making mistakes. And yet all of that can just disappear, our incorrect perception of others, as well as our whatever we're feeling guilty about or carrying around, or a story that we tell ourselves about why things are the way they are in our lives. All that can be put down, let go, walk away from it, and never look back again. Forgiveness is the only thing that stands for truth in the illusions of the world. It sees their nothingness and looks straight through the 1,000 forms in which they appear. It looks on lies, but is not deceived. It does not heed the self-accusing shrieks of sinners mad with guilt. It looks on them with quiet eyes and merely says to them, "My brother, what you think is not the truth." The strength of pardon is its honesty, which is so uncorrupted that it sees illusions as illusions, not as truth. It is because of this that it becomes the undeceiver in the face of lies, the great restorer of the simple truth. By its ability to overlook what is not there, it opens up the way to truth, which has been blocked by dreams of guilt. Now are you free to follow in the way your true forgiveness opens up to you. For if one brother has received this gift of you, the door is open to yourself. There is a very simple way to find the door to true forgiveness and perceive it open wide and welcome. When you feel that you are tempted to accuse someone of sin in any form, do not allow your mind to dwell on what you think he did, for that is self-deception. Ask instead, would I accuse myself of doing this? Huge, huge, huge. Everyone, would I accuse myself of doing this? That's going to save you so much time and energy. Would I accuse myself of doing this? Thus will you see alternatives for choice in terms that render choosing meaningful and keep your mind as free of guilt and pain as God Himself intended it to be, and as it is in truth. It is but lies that would condemn. In truth is innocence the only thing there is. Forgiveness stands between illusions and the truth, between the world you see and that which lies beyond, between the hell of guilt and heaven's gate. Across the bridge, as powerful as love which laid its blessing on it, are all dreams of evil and of hatred and attack brought silently to truth. They are not kept to swell and bluster and to terrify the foolish dreamer who believes in them. He has been gently wakened by his dream by understanding what he thought he saw was never there. And now he cannot feel that all escape has been denied to him. He does not have to fight to save himself. He does not have to kill the dragons which he thought pursued him. Nor need he erect the heavy walls of stone and iron doors he thought would make him safe. He can remove the ponderous and useless armor made to chain his mind to fear and misery. His step is light, and as he lifts his foot to stride ahead, a star is left behind, to point the way to those who follow him. Forgiveness must be practiced, for the world cannot perceive its meaning, nor provide a guide to teach you its beneficence. There is no thought in all the world that leads to any understanding of the laws it follows, nor the thought that it reflects. It is alien to the world as is your own reality, and yet it joins your mind with the reality in you. So again, this is the ego coming into play. The ego is going to tell you what forgiveness is in its opinion. And it's going to downplay any advancement that you're making in understanding what this lesson is saying, because that's just, this reality that we've placed ourselves into. So back to the reading. Today we practice true forgiveness, that the time of joining be no more delayed. For we would meet with our reality in freedom and in peace. Our practicing becomes the footsteps lighting up the way for all our brothers who will follow us to the reality we share with them. That this may be accomplished, let us give a quarter of an hour twice today and spend it with the guide who understands the meaning of forgiveness and was sent to us to teach it. Let us ask of him, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Then choose one brother as he will direct and catalog his sins as one by one they cross your mind. Be certain not to dwell on any of them, but realize that you are using his so-called offenses, but to save the world from all ideas of sin. Briefly consider all the evil things you thought of him, and each time ask yourself, would I condemn myself for doing this? Let him be freed from all the thoughts you had of sin in him. And now you are prepared for freedom. If you have been practicing thus far in willingness and honesty, you will begin to sense a lifting up, a lightening of weight across your chest, a deep and certain feeling of relief. The time remaining should be given to experiencing the escape from all the heavy chains you sought to lay upon your brother, but were laid upon yourself. Forgiveness should be practiced through the day, for there will be still many times when you forget its meaning and attack yourself. When this occurs, allow your mind to see through this illusion as you tell yourself, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Would I accuse myself of doing this? I will not lay this chain upon myself. In everything you do, remember this. No one is crucified alone, and yet no one can enter heaven by himself. And that is lesson 134. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. So that last sentence there about no one is crucified alone, and yet no one can enter heaven by himself. So the idea of attacking another, of course, is you're not protected from that. So anytime you have any feelings of projecting wrongdoing at other people, diagnosing them with whatever their issues are, and that explains why they're doing what they're doing, it lives in you somewhere. So when you ask that question, would I accuse myself of doing this? Of course the answer is yes, but you have to dig deep enough to find the place where there's a mirror reflecting whatever you're accusing this person of doing or being or acting like, it's in you somewhere. Somewhere it's in you in some form. Now, this idea that no one can enter heaven by himself, this is atonement. And I think this is what the Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness is getting us to. Atonement, at one meant. Literally, we come to the realization at some point that we haven't done anything wrong, and neither have any of our brothers and sisters. We have been able to let go of all the weight that we're carrying about our own stuff and about other people's stuff, and of course about the government and the economy and the education system and the food system and the blah, blah, blah. All that external stuff. Somehow we will get to a point where it's not triggering us anymore. And we can look around and we can see that everyone and everything is here having an experience of learning and growing, and we can be gentler about our accusatory stares and finger pointing, because we realize that this is all just an effort to evolve souls that happen to meet up here. And even if all of that is just part of an illusory dream, why not pursue the path of God's will and the Holy Spirit's thought system in your evolution of your consciousness? Why not do that? This is a chance for you to choose a path. You can have one dream or the other. The dream of war, destruction, resentment, persistent and constant conflict in your life and in your mind and in your heart, or this place of lightness and joy and happiness and patience with yourself and others as you go through whatever energies are trying to move that are blocked because of things that you've created in your field, right? As you settle into, this is my journey, this is my experience, healing and letting all this stuff go, knowing that that's what other people are doing as well, you could really experience a much more expansive, creative, miracle driven or miracle receiving life. And I think that's what happened with me this morning. Of course, having a sore throat to me isn't just like a physical symptom. I think about the chakra system and, is there a message for me about this particular, when it happened and all this, right? Like I probably overthink it a little bit. But if there was something that I was, my spirit was trying to get my attention around my voice, I've worked through this enough to where I don't feel the symptom anymore. So we're living in this world of perception. And I love that we get to study forgiveness in this way. And hopefully you can start to open up to this idea of forgiveness and atonement as being very much close to each other, as well as salvation and freedom and joy and happiness. All those things are kind of like synonyms. They're words that mean the same thing. And the work that we do here is not just helping us, it's helping every being, all beings. May all beings have peace, be happy, feel like they've let go of all their shit. May all beings feel that. That's how I feel about myself. That's how I feel about you and every other being that exists. We can really learn from our experiences here and grow and transform and change, supporting each other and loving each other along the way. So thank you so much for joining me today and experiencing this lesson. I will be starting some travel tomorrow. I'm going to be heading up to Canada to help my friend and teacher, Tina Spalding. She's going to be doing retreats in Italy and in England. And I'll be taking care of her doggie, Delphi, and just helping out with the property and making sure everything's good while she's away. So I'll be coming to you from a different climate, a different location, and have lots of fun studying the lessons with you from abroad. And I hope I can share all that beautiful Salt Spring Island energy with you as I'm there. So have a great day today, everyone. Lots of love to you, and I'll see you back here or back somewhere again tomorrow.